everyone, I'm Janae of JanaeM.com, and thank you for tuning in to my YouTube channel. So if you're new to me, I am an entrepreneur and financial professional, and I specifically focus on helping first-generation grads figure out what to do with their money so they can pay off debt, build wealth, and create a strong legacy. So I understand that, like me, you weren't taught about money growing up at home or in school, whether your parents knew about money or not. And so I wanted to come on here to fill the gap so that way I can teach you the things that your parents never taught you, your teachers didn't teach you, and financial institutions won't tell you. So in today's video, I'm talking about the one skill that I mastered in order to be a good steward over my finances and just be good with managing money. And that skill is discipline. Now, it's something, because I naturally live a low-key life and I keep things pretty simple, it wasn't necessarily hard to do, so it wasn't that I had to learn to be disciplined, but there were certain instances where I was not disciplined, and so I had to strengthen that skill that I already had. Now, you may be someone that is not naturally disciplined when it comes to money. You may be impulsive. When you get a feeling or a craving for eating somewhere, you'll immediately go to that restaurant. If you're somebody who is in the store, you may see something that grabs your eye and your attention and you immediately go and buy it. So this video is really to help you no matter where you fall in that spectrum of being disciplined. So if you're somebody that's on the lower end where you're constantly buying the things that you're drawn to or acting on the feelings that you get in order to go somewhere, then a simple thing that you can do is ask yourself a simple question. Do I need this or do I want this? And after you answer that question, if it's something that you want, that's valid. But if you spend some time really thinking about it, you can think yourself out of saying yes to something. I'll give you an example. I wanted to go to Chick-fil-A. I just got off of work. I was hungry. I knew I had food at home or something I could cook at home, but I wanted Chick-fil-A. So I'm at literally the red light. Chick-fil-A is literally less than 5 minutes from me. And clearly this is a want because I have food at home. So when the light turns green and I'm driving, I look over to my left and I see the line is so long, I say to myself, it's not worth it. So that's one example where, because there were some steps leading up to me actually saying that I wanted something and me actually acting on what I wanted, because there was that time and those steps involved, even though it was just two, it kept me from actually acting on that impulse. Now, fast forward, I had that same craving and I just so happened to have the Chick-fil-A app downloaded on my phone. Why did I do that? It made it so accessible that I was able to place an entire order at a red light. Don't tell on me because I know it's against the law. I was able to place a whole order at the red light, and by the time the light turned green, I had already paid for it, so I had no choice but to go and pick up my order. One of the keys to being disciplined is not making what you're impulsive about or what you want to do easily accessible. So if you're in a mall and you're walking around and you find something that you like, and I've done this myself, I will literally walk around with something for 20 minutes. I will literally walk around something for 20 minutes, not specifically to talk myself out of it, but instead of seeing something that I like and immediately going to the cash register, I'll walk around the whole store and look at other things. And so that time that I'm taking to look at other things, I'll begin to say to myself and think to myself, do I really need to buy this? Do I really have the money to get this? Is this really a smart purchase? What can I wear with this? Is this something that I plan to wear within the next 3 months? You give yourself that time to talk yourself out of that initial yes that you made. So that's a tip if you're somebody on the low end of the spectrum, just putting some blocks in between your yes and you actually acting on the impulse. Now, if you're somebody like me who's a little more disciplined when it comes to, okay, I just want to make sure we was good. If you're more disciplined when it comes to spending money, you can suffer from something called entitlement issues. And entitlement issues is you feel like you should have X, so whether you have it or not, you're going to pursue X because you feel like you should have it. Now, this is something that I struggle with. So even in being disciplined with managing money, this is something that I constantly have to be mindful about, because if I'm not mindful of it, I can make some decisions that can put me in a bind financially. So I'll give you an example. I purchased a timeshare and I initially just planned to go to the presentation, sit in on it, get the free vacation that they offer, eat their free food, whatever, and then go back home. Now, I had done 2 timeshare presentations beforehand, but I had somebody with me. This time I happened to go alone. And at that time, I was feeling really bad because I was working at a nonprofit. I really wasn't making a whole bunch of money. And I just pursued a business opportunity that I believe was going to be very lucrative. And instead of doing the work and making the money and then purchasing the timeshare, I decided to give myself an advance and purchase the timeshare, believing that I would put in the work that it would take to pay it off within the next year or so. Well, guess what? That didn't happen. And so I had an extra bill that I had to pay each month. So what was something that I learned from that example, and what are some things that you can take with you if you are somebody who's more disciplined with managing money and you suffer from entitlement? One of the things that helped me was constantly being mindful of where I am and where I'm going. So even though, if you're familiar with my story, I'm used to having everything that I need and that I want. And so I'm not used to hearing the word no. So I know when I've come into situations where I have to tell myself no, I have to constantly remind myself, no does not mean not at all. It doesn't mean never. It just means not right now. But having a plan and a vision of where I want to go, it motivates me and it encourages me to know that it's not going to stay like this. So I would recommend, if you don't have a direction or a vision or a plan for where you're going in your life, that you solidify that. And when you find yourself in situations on your way to greatness and you can't afford the things that you want right now, just remind yourself of where you're going. And that will encourage you and put you back in the mind frame of, even though it's not right now, I know because of where I'm going, I'll have more than enough to be able to afford this later on. So not right now. No does not mean never. It just means not right now. And so if I could go back and do it all over again, I would have just done a nice getaway vacation, so that way I can still take advantage of being able to travel even though I did not have a vacation home. So I hope you found this helpful. If you have a question that you'd like me to come on here and answer, visit the info section to click on the link to go to my page to submit it. Just go to bit.ly/ask-Janae. So thank you all for tuning in, and I look forward to talking with you on the next video. Bye.